is enough to get you through an episode. Right. What? It's like crack. Yeah, crack is another thing you can use if your voice starts getting I prefer a little methamphetamines and a little weed. and some ecstasy. No, I don't recommend any drugs for voice actors because drugs are actually very hard on your voice. So stay away from drugs, stay away from cigarette smoking, unless you want to do a particular kind of voice acting, like Chris Sabat, who talks really deep from years of cigarette smoke. But I don't recommend that process. Yeah.
Was Usopp the hardest voice you had to do?
Yeah, Usopp is definitely the hardest. Well, actually, Usopp is hard, and any deep voice is hard for me because my voice is not naturally deep, except in the morning. So, like, did anybody see Samurai 7?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was Kyuzo on Samurai 7. And I can do Kyuzo about an hour after I get up in the morning, for about 3 hours. And then my voice starts picking up into a higher range. So when I got casted in it, luckily the auditions were in the morning. And I told the director, I said, Chris, listen, it's Chris Bevins. I said, dude, I'm happy to do this, but I gotta warn you, I can only record his voice in the morning because my voice is way too high in the afternoon. And so he scheduled everything for me to do in the morning. Luckily, Kyuzo is probably my favorite part to do. And it's no lines. He's the most memorable character on the show. He doesn't say a word. So, and his fighting reactions are, if that. That's when he really had a strength. Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He's silent and deadly. Why that's coming up? Maybe it's because of what I ate. But great part. It's a great part because people know it, people like it, and I didn't have to work hard to do it. And at the time, I had a 2-hour minimum, so I got my pay for 2 hours and left, even though it took me 5 minutes to do it. And that's another thing. Getting minimums and stuff like that, these are usually negotiated through agents, that's a big common question, do you need an agent to be a voice actor? You don't need an agent to be, I don't have an agent. It helps to at least know who's doing it and who can, and like setting up auditions, because the agents have their nose to the what is the analogy?
Grindstone?
Thank you. And also their ear to the
ground.
Thank you. Ear to the ground. So they know where the gigs are. But I just heard about it from a friend of mine, and I auditioned for Krillin, didn't expect to get a part. I ended up getting Krillin, and then I ended up getting the part of the first Toonami robot, Toonami Tom. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, I had a career. But then we started getting all these actors coming in who had agents. And the agents insisted that the actors get a 2-hour minimum. Okay? Well, I've been working there 3 years, and I didn't have a minimum. I could go in for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever they needed, right? So I was thinking about 4th year and came up for contract negotiations, and they said, so you need the 1 hour, the no minimum contract, right? And I said, no, my agent said that I have a 2-hour minimum. And they went, oh, I didn't know, okay. Well, here's the 2-hour minimum. So, who's your agent anyway? And I said, me. And they went, good, you've got a good agent. And so I got my 2-hour minimum after that. Although now I don't, because I live just down the street from Funimation. So I don't mind coming in for an hour. But when at the time I was having to drive an hour to work, and it was like, yeah, I think I should at least get 2 hours out of this. Any other questions? Yes?
Who's your favorite bit part character?
Favorite what?
Who's your favorite bit part or like my character that is or single?
There is a character I'm doing right now, and I cannot remember the name because I just did it once, but I'm going to be doing it again. It's a recurring role, but it's a small part on Oran. Yeah. And it's a drag queen. It's like a 45-year-old drag queen. Ugly, but very, very excited. And I love doing his voice. It's just so fun. I expected to do something, because when they said it was a drag queen, I thought, okay, I'm thinking, you guys watch Project Runway?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Project Runway, right? Well, the guy who won this year was just so fierce, And I love his voice. It was because I am fierce, and I'm going to take on this industry. I'm so fierce. So I came in with this voice, thinking this is what's going to make it. And I see this guy, no, he's Broadway. Hello! He's all out there, really happy. So I went, okay, another shouting part, but he wasn't fierce. No, he was fierce, just not fierce. Any questions in the back there? No? Any other questions? Question?
Boom, boom.
Can you talk about ADR directing then?
ADR directing. Okay. ADR directing is kind of weird. I came from a theater background, and I've directed in theater. And your job as a theater director is to make sure things look good and sound good, right? And that people sound like their motivations are intact, that the reason they're saying things are intact. As a voice director, you're focused only on the voice, but you're also focused on the technical side. Do those mouth flaps match what the voice actor's doing inside? Are there any clicks in their voice? Sometimes people smack when they speak. And you can take a lot of them out, but some of them are pretty glaring. If you hear them, as a voice director, you have to say, stop, take that out, let's catch another take on that. It's a fun job to do. I like it, especially if I'm playing like one of the main parts, because like when I was doing the Lupin movies, I was able to put down all of my tracks first, put all Lupin the Third down, and then have all the other actors come in and play off of him. And then once they played off of him, I went back in and re-recorded Lupin playing off of them. So you got this really nice chemistry going. Now we don't always have that luxury. Sometimes we have schedules to meet. But when we did the movies, they kind of just put me on an island somewhere and just said, do whatever you want. So I actually had the luxury of doing that. It's a job where you got to keep the actors happy. And actors have big egos. So you have to laugh at their stupid jokes. And because you have to make them feel funny, especially if it's a comedy, Otherwise, if they start getting paranoid, as they also are, if they start getting that way, then you have a mess, because it's really hard to pull them out when they start feeling bad about their work. Actors can be babies, and you have to baby them, and that's part of your job as a director too. And I admit that I see this in myself as well. I hate it when a director is bringing me down, because my energy falls, And so as a director, you got to be in there and give a lot of energy, keep them laughing, keep going. As a matter of fact, even in dramas, it's good to keep the actor laughing. Some of the most, what was it? This episode Hughes died in 23, right? Anyway, Hughes died. When the episode that Hughes died. 25, thank you. We laughed so much through that day. We had a blast producing this tear-wrenching episode. But also, now here's a directing story. I didn't direct it. It was Mike McFarland directed that particular episode. He and Colleen Klinkenbeard had the whole series together. But Mike directed that 25, and he knew what an important episode this was for the series. So he gave me the script beforehand, which we never get, And he also gave me a video at the time, the original Japanese. So that I could take it home and watch it and watch the script, read the script with it, so I could become very familiar with this episode. So it was the one I was most comfortable with, and I think it paid off, because several of you cried, right? I like that. As an actor, you really like to make people cry, unless it's a comedy, and you also like to make them laugh. And when he died, I was actually telling Mike, I said, "Oh man, I hate that. This is one of my favorite characters that I've done, and now I don't get to do him anymore." And he said, "Let me show you something that's going to really cheer you up." And he got online and showed me all the websites where people were crying because Hughes died, and I was like, "This is awesome." And he said, "No, let me show you more." Like tons of these websites. Everybody's like, "Did you cry?" "Yeah, I cried." I was like, "Yes! This is better than going on to the next season." And a real good career move for Hughes, I think, because I think people liked Hughes anyway, but when he died, they loved him.